So the best part about this exhaust setup is being able to control it with the push of a button, and you can be loud or quiet. Woo! What's up YouTube, and welcome back to another automotive vlog. We are going to be doing something that I've been wanting to do to the GX for quite some time. These are exhaust cutouts for the GX470's exhaust. We're about to turn this into a remotely controlled loud or quiet exhaust setup for under $300. This product was sent to me from Spelab, and I'm very excited to get into it. All right, so I want to thank Spelab for sending this over. I am very excited about transforming the GX, and I hope that you are too, because this is going to both sound good and be budget friendly. So let's see what they have sent in the box. And it looks like they sent me a dual cutout kit, which I think I can fit both in one area, but there's another area. If that doesn't work, we can do a single exhaust cutout, which a single exhaust one's going to be easier to install. And for all of us GX470 people, we have catalytic converters that come down, go to a Y pipe, and it's mostly single exhaust for the duration of the vehicle. So if the dual exhaust on the Y pipe for these cutouts doesn't work, we'll do it somewhere else. All right, so the next thing in the box, this looks like our dump. Yep, this is going to be the dump exit for where the cutout dumps the exhaust out. Has a nice little bend. You can either do a downward, sideways, and really have 360 degrees of flexibility of where that comes out at. So we got two of everything in here. I'm just going to open up one just so you can see the contents of the packaging. This bag that comes included looks like it's got some electronics in it. We got ourselves a little keychain here, keychain remote. That gives us the ability to control the open or close setting of the valve. So I'm a fan of that, but I'm curious about maybe installing this, and might do some bypassing later into the switch controller where my lighting accessories are, so that I can just open and close the valve from there. So there's this little electronic control box, and that is where the receiver sits for setting out the signal to turn on or off the valve. And then you got this DC plug-in port so that you can power that. And so we got this box here with, looks like one of the cutouts. So this is the heart of it all. This is the cutout switch with the exhaust flap inside of it. And then here we actually have our exhaust cutout. So this is a nice machined aluminum with a little coupler here to a DC motor. And lastly, I think this is the hardware that connects everything together. Yep, this will be the bracket that you use to couple your dump over to the pipe itself. And you've got some hardware for mounting that up. So one key point that I didn't discuss is this is the 2.5-inch diameter exhaust cutout kit. I'll put all the product links for this kit in the description below. This dual exhaust cutout kit comes from Spelab at, normally it's a $297 price tag, but actually right now there's a sale on it at $225. So a very affordable solution. We're going to be able to control how loud the GX470 sounds with the push of a button. So that's going to be awesome. So these kits, preferably, you would want to weld them in if you have access to a welder. I'm going to do something a little bit different just for speed of installation, as I'm going to use these exhaust couplers that I also purchased. So I'll put the link in the description for these, but they are as they sound. They couple the exhaust together. So you can line this up with your other end of your exhaust in here and make sure they're butted up flush. And then once you get everything lined up, you tighten these bolts down and you can couple this in to your current exhaust system without having to weld. So it's a very quick DIY route if you want to do the exhaust coupler route. I'm going to do this exhaust coupler just to show the concept and see how well it actually works. Otherwise, probably after this video, I'm going to go to a muffler shop and have them weld both sides in. So that's the product unboxing. Pretty straightforward, only a couple of components. All right, so before I go out into the garage, I realized I should probably just show the assembly here while we have a little bit nicer of a viewing setup here. So one gasket is going to go on this side. All right, so I'm going to line up the cutout here with those holes, gasket on the back side. Additionally, you want to add a gasket here on the front side. All right, with things lined up, you want to take one of your bolts with a washer on it. Slide that through the back. Like so. Alright, so once you have things lined up the way you would like, the next thing you want to do is you want to put this next piece on, which this is going to be what holds the down pipe or the exhaust dump pipe from there, and it has threads in it already, so you really just want to thread in from the back side here. And then from there, all we have to do is put this little downward exit off of that dump. So this will go on just like on most cars that have the V-bands, or if you're used to that, I sure know that I am used to it from the M4, because that was quite a pain in the butt to deal with, but this should be a lot easier because there's better access. So I'm just going to hand tighten this down because I don't know what angle I want to use yet for this, so this will at least just kind of get things into place, and then we'll go install that and adjust all these fine little details accordingly. But really, that's all there is to it. Pretty straightforward design. So let's get out into the garage and start cutting on that factory exhaust. Alright, so for the first part of the job, cutting out the factory exhaust, I'm going to use a Sawzall. In a past video, I've used exhaust cutters. You can actually rent those from any auto parts store. So other than the saw, I've got some gloves just so you don't cut your hands, a marker to mark our cuts, and then I'm going to use this for taking the measurements and marking ends of both sides. Other than that, we just need to get up underneath here and find the area that we need to cut. Alright, so we're up under the GX, and as you see, there's some oil all around here. I've got a valve cover gasket leak, so a little bit of a spoiler. That's going to be one of the next few videos. We'll be changing that. But right here is the down pipe off the headers, and then we got this first set of resonators here, and there's one on both sides. I was going to put them here, just cut out these resonators. It would be a lot louder than back further, but I'm not a fan of the fact that there's a joint up there, and I think just in general for structural integrity, I don't want to put exhaust couplers there. I found this area, so here's where the exhaust comes back together. This is the Y pipe, and it goes single through a muffler all the way back out the back end of the GX there. This area right here is the perfect place for this valve. I think the cutout valve right here, we'll only use one of them, which the cool part about using one is if you have any component failure, like such as 5 years down the line from now, the electronic valve or the motor on the flap goes out 5 years from now. And since this kit is a dual exhaust kit, you have the second valve and you can just swap that out super easy. So I think this is a really good place to put it. We'll only use one valve, and it'll be a little bit less loud because we'll at least have a resonator and a little bit more length of exhaust before we do the dump. But we'll definitely be doing the dump before the muffler, so should still be pretty loud here and have a nice V8 growl to it. What I want to do here is mark this on our exhaust piece here. So I want to go in just before. The nice thing is there's a hanger right here and there's a hanger back here, so when we make this cut to pull this section of the exhaust out, everything will still be hanging and supported. So this is really an ideal place to do it. I'm very happy about the fact that we already have hangers here. Hold this up and take a marker and mark the edge where I want to have my first cut. Alright, so with both sides marked, I can go through and kind of extend that line. Alright, wish me luck. I'm going to start cutting. Hopefully I don't screw this up and cost myself some repairs, but I think this looks like a pretty straightforward cut. So just make those 2 cuts with your saw, and just be wary of hand protection, eye protection. You don't want any of these metal bits getting into your eyes. So we're through on one side. It's a little bit of a sloppy cut there, but it'll do. We can clean that up. Alrighty, there it is. Alright, so you want to slide your exhaust coupler on. Starting to put things into place here. One thing I'm noticing is that the exhaust is actually a little bit smaller than 2.5 inch, so this exhaust coupler might not exactly do the trick. All right, so I hate to do this, but I had to take two pieces of the section of exhaust that I cut out and I turned them into basically shims. So these couplers do not tighten well around this, and there's just enough where I don't trust it. I want it to have a better seal, so I'm just going to use these homemade shims from the extra scrap exhaust piece that we cut out already. So the right way to do this would have been to get an exhaust coupler that does a step up. These shims will do the trick, so I'm going to just slide those couplers out and put these shims into place and tighten everything back down. All right, so we put one shim already in the back, and so all I really did was cut like a 2-inch section and then put a notch in it. So pretty easy to do, and then I just spread that open and slide it up over. Like so. There we go. And that creates a nice shim there for everything. All right, so now we got our shim into place, and our coupler should now create a nice tight seal around things here. Something about this whole exhaust cutout thing feels a little bit redneck, but I think that's why I like it. It's a little rowdy, a little hacky, and it makes for makes for a fun time. Much better. Oh, that created a great seal. That thing ain't going anywhere. Awesome. Let's tighten up the last one down here. That thing's solid. Hell yeah, that's into place great. I think the only other thing here was tightening down our 13 millimeter here on the exhaust cutout angle. All right, so there we have it. Exhaust couplers holding on good now with those shims. You can kind of see it sticking out here at the edge. That just really cinched things down. Everything's held into place real solid. Ain't going anywhere. We'll just run this wire. So this plugs in to that main wiring harness. We're gonna wanna run that up to the front. We're gonna run it along the same lines that we did for our rock lights here and zip tie everything into place. So let's just get that going, and we'll get this up into the engine bay and finish up that wiring job up there. All right, so once you got this cable routed up through, you can plug it in. The one thing here is we got a ton of excess, so we're gonna wanna zip tie this up here along the frame and bundle that up so it's nice and tidy. I think the best thing to do is so this plug doesn't get water in it or come unplugged somehow. I think we wanna hit this with some electrical tape just to keep that sealed up. All right, so I got this all tucked away nicely up here. This is the only thing that's hanging down, but I don't think that's really gonna be an issue. If it is, well, we'll have to adjust accordingly. So the last part of the job is we'll just go up into the engine bay and we'll wire this up into our aux beam switch controllers. All right, and then so to add some peace of mind about any exhaust leaks, I recommend going through with some high temperature tape, putting it on here. This will work great. This is from 3M. It can stand up to 600 degrees, and this tape really will just make sure that we don't have any exhaust leaks. If you're going to go the route of not welding this in and using the exhaust couplers, this is just a couple of bucks, and it gives you the peace of mind that you're not going to have any exhaust leaks or smells coming up into your cabin. Alright, so there you have it. Everything's sealed up nice, and you should have no exhaust leaks with that. Alright, so we're up here in the engine bay, and this is the line that runs down to our exhaust valve, and here is the control box. So you've got where you're plugging into your exhaust valve for the control of it, and then on the other side you've got your DC cigarette lighter. So you could run this wiring harness through the engine bay firewall and plug this whole assembly in the interior of your vehicle and just control it in there. I personally want this thing ultimately to be controlled from my aux beam switch controller here. So to start, I'm a little worried that maybe this isn't 12 volts that runs out to the motor. So I do know that this is 12 volts here because that goes into your accessory cigarette lighter port. So I'm guaranteed there's 12 volts here. I may later check with a multimeter to make sure 12 volts is here, and also to make sure that it's not like pulse width modulated. This may be a little bit more than just a 12 volt control, and I don't really want to screw that up before testing it. So I'm just going to hook up this side to 12 volts through the switch controller, and I'll deal with the remote control for now. And then once I get some oscilloscope or something or logic analyzer on here and I can see what's actually controlling the motor itself, if it's just a 12 volt on off, then I'm going to wire this directly into the aux beam switch controller, bypass the entire box. Basically only this wire will need to be plugged into the box because you'll just switch 12 volts here, and I can do away with this entire box. But before I do that, I don't want to risk it. Alright, so now I have this wiring harness stripped back, exposing our black and red leads here, and I'm going to wire this in to the switch controller. And I really only need a 5 amp fuse for this because I just don't think this is going to draw a ton of current. It's a very low current type of thing. So the switch controller over here has a nice 5 amp fuse, so I'm going to go into that port there. So really from here, all you gotta do is take the other end of the control box. You've got your plug on there that's gonna go to the wiring harness that goes out to your valve on your exhaust, and plug that in. And now we have that controlled. I'm gonna set this off in this messy rat's nest of cabling here just until I double check to make sure this is the right configuration and that things are wired up properly. But I'm gonna go start the GX and see if we have remote control of things here. So let's go check it out. All right, so I got the windows rolled down here, so hopefully we can hear if things are activated. We've got our button here, and then over on this side we got our aux beam switch controller, and I think it's this position. So keep in mind that the goal here is to have the switch controller be the on and off for the valve. All right, so enough yapping. If this works and everything's wired up properly, this on button should open up our flap, so allowing all the exhaust to exit out the side. So let's see. All right, so that didn't work. Maybe I just wired this up to a different button on here and I didn't realize it. So, or maybe this remote just needs to be pointed. I think I hear it. Holy crap. Oh my God, that sounds insane. Oh my God, my neighbors are gonna be so pissed. What? There's little burbles. There's like backfires. Oh, this is sweet. We gotta go. I gotta go put this camera by the exhaust outlet so you guys can hear this. Holy crap, this is awesome. I can't resist. I gotta go drive around. This is freaking awesome. So driving right now with the valves closed, it is very quiet. It sounds just like stock. So there's been no compromise by adding that. The closed position is keeping the exhaust from exiting there. So it sounds just like normal. And then with the touch of a button, you got the loudness, so hopefully you can hear that. It's so awesome. I'm so excited. Oh man, my neighbors are gonna hate me so much. But the nice thing is if you don't want to piss off your neighbors, you can change this into the closed position before you pull into your neighborhood. Holy crap. The GX sounds like a beast right now. Holy crap. My goodness. That's incredible. All right, let's go. I'm gonna have to get some drive-by sound clips for you. Woo-hoo-hoo. Sounds like a muscle car. I love it. Oh, it's so good. So good. It's not insanely rowdy either. Like, there's plenty of trucks out there with louder exhausts. I thought it was going to be obnoxiously rowdy. Let's do some drive-by clips so you can really get a good idea of just what it really sounds like from the outside. Alright, so those clips I think have done full justice just as to why that this exhaust cutout kit is so cool. It is such an awesome kit, very affordable, and the fact that I can control whether it's loud or quiet is such an awesome thing. Like if you're driving on the highway, you can have it quiet. I actually don't notice much droning on the highway, even with the valves open. So in general, for the GX470, that location is just a great spot for the sound. You have those two resonators and the catalytic converters, so that is giving you just a little bit of a toned down version. It's not exactly fully straight pipe, it's just being split off right before that muffler, so it gives you a really good tone, sounds great. It actually sounds like a performance exhaust. It is hands down the most affordable exhaust solution for the GX470, and I'm sure it's the same for any vehicle platform. It is just really hard to find a full exhaust system for an affordable price, and also have something that is remote controlled. You normally just get it loud all the time or quiet all the time. So having that choice is so key and a huge benefit to this exhaust system. So if there's any tips that I could give to you to make this install go smoother for you, doing that shim to go from the actual, I measured it again, it's 60 millimeters for the GX470's exhaust. I think it's that way for a lot of Toyota. It's just like a metric unit. Instead of 2.5 inch, it's 60 millimeters, so it's like 2.35 inches. So you've just got a little bit of gap to close there, and the 2.5 inch exhaust couplers don't cinch down tight enough, but I was able to successfully get them to cinch down tight with making those shims. Not the most ideal solution for somebody who wants to just do this quick and doesn't want to sit there and make their own shims the way I did, although it was very easy to do. If you don't want to do that and you feel like you want to just have something that bolts right up or welds right in, I would go to an exhaust or muffler shop and just have them welded in. That'd be a lot easier. Otherwise, you could try to find, I did some quick searching and I couldn't find any 60 millimeter to 2.5 inch exhaust couplers. So if you want to go the coupler route and you don't want to make the shim, maybe you can find yourself a 60 millimeter to 2.5 inch coupler. So because I've teamed up with Spelab for this, they've also done us a huge favor and they've given us a code to save 15% on this kit. So if you use code AW15, you can get 15% off one of these kits for yourself. Save some money. All the links for the products I used in the video are in the description of this video, so click down below if you want to get one of these for your vehicle. If any of you have questions about the whole install process, just leave those comments in the comment section down below. I try to get back to all comments in a timely manner, and with this, hopefully I've covered enough detail. I know it was a longer video, but I think it was needed just to kind of justify how easy it was to install. So if you do have questions, let me know. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So overall, I'm extremely satisfied with this cutout kit. And for the price and time investment to install, you really can't go wrong. I mean, you heard it for yourself there in the video. The exhaust note is just incredible. So if you like the content in today's video, hit that like button down below to let me know that you enjoy this type of video content. If you're not already an Automotive subscriber and you like GX470 and overlanding content, hit that subscribe button down below to become an Automotive subscriber. And lastly, I want to announce that we sold out our first batch of Automotive Molly panels. I was so excited to get those Molly panels out to you, and it's awesome hearing the feedback and getting pictures from everybody's installs. They look great, and I'm so excited to see Automotive panels in everyone's GXs. It's just kind of wild to see. I'm very thankful for that. So because they did so well, I'm doubling up the next batch. Keep an eye out on the Instagram page, and also if you're a subscriber, you'll get the notification on YouTube as well whenever those are in stock and they're ready for purchase. Alright, well that about does it for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.